Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 288, and today we're doing battle with the Acolyte's Reliquary. And so, if you haven't been following along with the channel daily, we've been taking the past week or so to go back through the Dark Saga World Ender, see if there were any cards that we missed, and to get some of those kind of off-meta cards a little bit more fresh in our brains, as the format is about to change with the upcoming balance patches and then the additional formats coming in the daily tournaments. I like to have some of these fringe strategies in mind in case there's a new deck kind of cropping up and popping in. And so you may say Bust Acolyte Reliquary has been nerfed. It's no longer good anymore. But, I kind of want to come out and see that for ourselves. So it's at least fresh if a new card comes out or a nerf happens or a buff happens, or just even think to Katarina in the sense that she's arguably one of the top 3, top 5 champions in the game right now. No one was playing her immediately after she got buffed, and then it still took people like 2 or 3 months to figure out that she was actually a good champion. And so I think there's quite a bit of value in going back and exploring some of these cards to see if they have some potential for the future. And so, if you're not familiar with the Acolyte's Reliquary deck, this is an engine deck based on the Ruinous Acolytes. And so we're going to do everything that we can to drop these Ruinous Acolytes on the board, blow up a landmark, and give them all +1/+1. And so we have all of the ways to generate the Ruinous Acolyte. We have the card itself, we have the Acolyte's Reliquary, along with the construct of Desolation to come in and generate them all. And then there is also the Rite of Passage, which lets us manifest a landmark that has been destroyed. Ideally, that will be manifesting back the Acolyte's Reliquary, which will then put another Ruinous Acolyte in our hand, while also giving us another landmark to blow up. And so it is a very big stat-based engine deck, but I do like it in the sense that if we look at stat-based decks like, say, Elites, and Elites are trying to beat you just by putting more stats on the board than the opponent can handle, the problem that those decks tend to run into is they don't have any way to just attack through a wall of units. And so if your opponent plays a Hapless Aristocrat and then a Vile Feast, it's very tough for you to deal damage with that. They just say, like, okay, I'll block your 7 power and your 6 power unit. I'll let the 2 and 3 power unit roll through, not really taking very much damage. But the way you typically look to get around that is with elusives or rallies or overwhelms. The Elites-based decks tend to play some form of rally, but if we look over towards the Ruinous Acolyte, it does have Fearsome built in. And now, Fearsome isn't as reliable as Overwhelm or Elusive, but it does still do the kind of same trick as to where we can get past those Conchologists of the world, we can get past those Boom Baboons, and still strike in for damage even though the opponent may have some units on the board. And so that is the main and core strategy, but you do have to ask yourself, what happens if I don't draw if I don't get the Acolyte chains going, or what do we do if we have kind of a slow or misshapen draw with this kind of deck? And it does still have a bit of the other landmarks package in it. We're playing Ziggs as the only champion. We're not trying to say Absolver combo Ziggs. He's just a effective early game play, along with the Endless Devout to buy a little bit more stall. We can use these to hopefully lock the board down for a little bit until our engine cards do show up. We have a small removal suite in the Pokey Stick and Drop the Bomb. Both count as a bit of cycle and giving us landmarks to use with the Acolytes. And then we are playing 2 copies of the Arsenal. This is our champion of the deck, if you will. I'm not really interested in playing something like Zerath or Talia. They do say landmark stuff on them, but they don't really play to the theme of the deck, as to where the Arsenal, it's very easy to have like 6 or 7 blown up landmarks, and then if your opponent drops a Buried in the Ice or something on you, you still have this big meaty unit that can come in and close out the game, to where Talia would just be kind of floundering around. Last but not least, I do want to talk about Rite of Negation, as we were talking about Buried in the Ice. Buried in the Ice is kind of everywhere now. I don't really get why. Well, I shouldn't say that. I get why. It's because of Aatrox Kayn, and Aatrox Kayn being the most popular deck in the format. I haven't played against Aatrox Kayn in like a week, and so people are just playing the seasonals meta when it's not relevant anymore. But if that's what you're out there facing, then it is nice to have access to things like Rite of Negation, even though the main reason to play Buried in the Ice isn't around that much anymore. And so we're playing 2 copies here as kind of a safety net. It sucks a whole lot to to get 4 and 5 of these acolytes going on the board, and then your opponent just stops them all with Buried in the Ice. And so that's the deck. That's what we're going to be doing battle with today. But you know what we got to do before the battles begin? We got to go and turn something premium, and we are going to be loading up the Construct of Desolation. There's nothing better than just generating a premium acolyte. It's kind of like a premium on top of a premium. You say, yo, dog, I heard you like premiums, so I got you a premium to premium, so you can premium while you premium. Yeah, it's worth it. It makes sense, Exhibit. Okay, up against the old Lurkers. So let's see what we can do. These are typically pretty painful matchups to where their early game aggression tends to be faster than we can get our cards online. But we'll see what we can do. We got a reasonable start here. This is going to be my favorite play. I love these plays. You play a turn 1 unit, you attack and just naturally hit Lurk. Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't Rek'Sai. Surprised it wasn't Rek'Sai. This is just such a dumb deck. Everybody that plays the thing just like has to be miserable. Like, I've never encountered anyone in my lands of Runeterra, in my time in the game across the various social media aspects, that said, man, I had fun playing Lurkers today. 0% of people have ever said, man, I had fun playing Lurkers today. It kind of interests me as there's all of the changes coming about. We have the new patch cycle to where there'll be a new set, there'll be a balance patch, and there'll be a variety set, a small set to where they just release a few cards that are kind of in theme with an older deck. And I'm curious if somebody is going to be that guy that comes in and prints more Lurkers cards, or if they're just going to get rid of these dum-dums in a rotation. I'm curious, and I bet there's that one guy, that one person I forgot. Holy shit, did he have Rek'Sai on top of his deck? I can't tell if that animation was just from the Rek'Sai herself or if it was from a second one on top. But no, I'm sure there's that like one person at Riot that's like, Bust, you're an idiot, bro. I love Lurk so much. It's so much fun. You know, I love rolling dice. Rolling dice is the highlight of my day. But let's see what we can do here. A slight punish with the Pokestick making an appearance. I did block the fearsome unit as opposed to the Sharkling. Probably shouldn't have. I mean, there's not a ton of ways. There's not a ton of, like, I guess almost all of our units can block the smaller units anyways, but we only have, like, the one source of Pokestick. So, that's kind of a bummer, but let's see if we can't still turn this around. I suspect he'll make the trades. These decks typically don't have ways to get our units off of the board. I guess the thing he would be considering is if he wants to leave a bigger unit up and then hook our 4-3 out of combat. Very surprised he left the other one up. Alright, Zerzerath. So we should only be taking like 5 damage this turn. It's manageable. Interesting. Maybe we get to take 0. That would be pretty sweet. Maybe, I mean, just shouldn't even Pokestick. Like, the 2 points of damage aren't super relevant, but having that mana to play some of these other engine cards could be. Right, because we want to Rite of the Arcane this turn to take down the Under Titan, but then after that we don't have too many plays left over. Okay, Let's see what comes in. Nice wall of lurkers coming at it. It's probably going to be that dumb thing, the Riptide. I'm going to call him Riptide Laboratory, and I know that's wrong. That's a magic card. The Ripjaw fish, the free attack fish, whatever that's called. That's my favorite play coming out of the lurk deck is when they turn 1 play a unit, just naturally hit, and then on turn 2 they have to absolutely hit on a Ripjaw Swarm. And then, of course, they do. It's like, okay, I'm going to attack with this 1-2. If you have the way to take it down, then I just automatically lose. And they tend to have it every time. It's fucking fun. Let's see. Do we actually want to go Sarcophagus here? We're going to have the smaller Acolytes, but it's going to give us 2 blockers on the board. How big are our... I really wish we could see. We've only... I think they're 4 attack. I think we need to get the additional unit on the board. Oh, that makes sense anyways. We were going to blow up the landmark either way. Alright, so we got Rek'Sai up on top. Nope. That's pretty cool. I dig that. Alright, let's see what we can get on this upcoming turn. We can get a bunch of dudes on board, that's for certain. And a Rite of the Arcane. Alright. Don't. Do we actually want to blow up the landmark? Or would we rather just lose the mana gem at this point? Maybe we just want to come in and trade everywhere we can. And then Rite of the Arcane, the last remaining Under Titan? I'm kind of skeptical of the Rite of the Arcane anymore. It's just like we're getting like 1-for-1 with it. It doesn't feel nearly as good. I want to just get the trades across the board. And now that we're getting up to 6 attack on our Acolytes, if he wants to take them down, he has to do it with the Under Titans, which it sucks to trade out for these 1 health units, but these are very important units to actually be getting off of the board. Like, we just have to swing with the squad here, right? He'll get 1 good block. He'll have the... I guess he'll have good blocks on a couple of these, but we have to come in and represent the lethal. Then he can't block with the Bakai. I think this is fine. Right? The 6 will go in front of the Devout. Looks like he has to block the other one. Takes a little 7-piece nugget. He's got... an Under Titan behind. I think it's okay. I guess these do pick up Overwhelm, so they're a little worrisome, but I think it'll probably come down to like if he was able to put like Rek'Sai on top of his deck. Hey, it's the Arsenal. A little scary for this turn. I mean, how much more can he add? Because it's like if we hit lifesteal on the Arsenal, then this game's pretty done. But that feels really close. I think I'm just going to go for the Rite of the Arcane. We'll try and go extra big with him next turn, but give us a chance to take down this Under Titan. The opposing deck doesn't play a lot of stuff like a... they don't play combat tricks here, so this should be okay. The other thing to worry about is going to be them playing something like... I was going to say, it's going to be them playing something like a... We're just dead now, right? Jaw Fish is the card on the upcoming turn, but Did not anticipate the right. All right, GG. Boo. GG, though. I don't feel like it was punted. I feel like we had a good reason for what we were doing there. It's kind of a bummer to see the unit come in like that. If opponent's like, oh, my last card is Pike, then the situation feels much different than that. It's kind of interesting, like especially knowing that he predicted on the previous turn. I'm curious, like those aren't cards you're wanting to predict for. Like I guess you kind of want to predict for that overwhelm unit, but at that space you're really looking for a Rek'Sai or you're looking for a Jawfish, and doesn't seem like either of those turned up in that case. But like, do you really put Rite of Negation on top? I guess the Dunebreaker is kind of doing what you want to doing. It's like the best of the worst, right? Or I guess the worst of the best is the way to put it, in the sense that you want, Rek'Sai, you want the big overwhelm, and it's just kind of the little overwhelm. All right, though, fairly awkward draw. We knew kind of what we were getting into, hanging on to drop the bomb Ziggs. I wanted to hang on to drop the bomb because a lot of these people will just come out and run out a, not a Zed, what's his name? Zed is the opponent, Jax, right? Before he's actually leveled up and protected. And so taking him down on turn 2 is pretty reasonable. This seems decent as well. Omen Hawk isn't the greatest choice of target, but it does slow opponent down quite a bit. Running out of all the mana here. How big is this thing now? 5'4"? You have a lot of stats, friend. You have a lot of stats. Alright, he's certainly booming us. This is one of these games where it's like, yeah, that is a little less than ideal to not have the big Acolyte start. His engine is churning, right? He's got the landmark and he's got all the boosts put on it, but we haven't received any of our landmarks to pull this stuff off with. Now we kind of slip even further behind, in the sense that, if we want to Rite of the Arcane this apprentice, the stats are mainly tied into that combat reel, and then he can just fairly easily replay the combat reel. But at this point, we're big enough to block the apprentice and get a trade. And so if we go into the next turn and he forges on the apprentice, I think it's okay. We can still follow up with another Rite of the Arcane to take it down. There we go. Finally turning up. Get quick attack. All right, we'll see. We'll see if we can't get a decent round out of the quicksand here. I'm fine to just kind of throw away these units. We just need to be not dying here. Oof. I'm curious if we shouldn't have just thrown the unit away. Picked up the sarcophagus. I don't worry too much about Ornn. If he has Ornn online, we've probably already lost the game anyways. But kind of an interesting idea there to just make the trade, get the sarcophagus down, and then save the quicksand for those big overwhelm attacks. Though we'll keep Ziggs behind. He's close to flipping and doing stuff. That's a pretty good concept for a unit. Say, hey, he's close to doing stuff. He's not doing anything right now, but he may here in the near future. Probably should have just attacked with him. It's like if you've played a bunch of Talia Ziggs, you get in your head that he's much more important than he actually is in this deck. All right, Ornn coming in. That 7 mana friend bringing the thunder. There he is. Alright, well, we gotta blow up something. Forge me twice, okay. So it's not like close to lethal this turn, but we're gonna struggle to win next turn. I think we're just kind of stuck hoping that the arsenal hits like spell shield elusive. That's not too big of an ask, is it? Spell shield elusive? I don't think so. It's not lethal.
Now this is what good looks like.
Where are we at? I didn't think this went through. I was hoping we had a way to just kind of like immediately catch a landmark blow up, but that's not something we have. We'll just pick up the reliquary, I guess, but we're not going to use it. I don't like how we handled that turn. Here he is, some big. What you got? What you got? He hit spell shield, but he didn't hit the other ones that we needed. All right, GG. Okay, on to the next one. That's tough. Like, when that was one of those games to where you feel kind of safe against a deck like Orange Jacks because they just don't have any ways to interact with you. They're another deck that's just putting stats on the board, but without our engine card, just kind of falls behind. Now this matchup here is a bit of a nightmare, but this is why. I'm kind of surprised that the Acolyte's Reliquary deck really just fell off the map. Like as you see decks in best of 3 like Talia Ziggs like thrive. It's not a very good ladder deck. It just gets annihilated by all the aggro decks of the format. But if you're in that space to where you can ban the worst of it, or and then have like Talia Ziggs only have to play against their worst aggro deck, then you have some reasonable space for that. And so it does surprise me that a deck like this, like the Acolyte's Reliquary, hasn't really found a home ever since the nerfs. So here we do take an additional point of damage this way, right? The typical strategy against fucking A. I was gonna say the typical strategy against Anti-Gen is to just prevent every single point of damage that you can. And if we're going to play to that idea, then the Pokey Stick on the Saboteur would have been the better play. And I can't decide if that would have just been outright the better play or not. Because we're not going to be doing a ton of blocking on Annie anyways. And so having access to that additional unit would have been kind of useful. Gonna get boomed. This is not going well. But I mean, we did get popped by him having the second Annie. I don't think that's something you can really worry about though. Like it's actually just like so much more challenging to have the other Annie. Like if he played at a Legion Rearguard after that, we'd just been like, oh okay. Well, I guess you have that other unit, but kind of is what it is there. Sure. Why not? Why not? If that's how the match is gonna be today. Yeah, we're just too far behind in this. This is never gonna come together. Hey, GG. All right, next battle. We're due for a victory. We can achieve victory at least once today. I'm feeling, I'm feeling pretty good about it. If we can get victory with the acoustician deck, then we can do one here. Acoustician, acoustician is the one I stuck with calling that guy. What we got? The game break. Find an opponent. Something happened. The screen moved. All right, up against Teemo Caitlyn. Haven't seen these friends in a long time. So what do we got here? Not really excited about this start. Like I feel like against the Caitlyn half of the deck, we have a long time to kind of prosper. And the way that we end up losing this match is it just like Teemo pops off in the early game. So I'll hang on to Pokestick. I won't take a full mulligan. Just searching for the Reliquary. Because I think we'll have plenty of time against the Caitlyn half of the deck. And then at worst, I mean, you can still Pokestick down a... excuse me, you can Pokestick down a Sting Officer if we just need something to do in the early game. Which, this hand needs something to do. we can drop an Acolyte on turn 3, but it doesn't do anything otherwise. Alright, well... He's passing, we can just be passing. Alright, Caitlyn comes in. Don't have to worry about a Piltover Peacemaker for the turn, but he can still Mystic Shot our Acolyte down. Nope, we're coming in for the damages. Got him real good. Got him real good. I mean, we probably, now that I'm thinking on this more, I just got so hype about getting to getting to attack with the Acolyte. We probably should have attacked last turn with the Chemist as well. Just potentially take down Caitlyn with the Pokestick after the fact. We'll see if that's what comes together here, but I'm not entirely sold on that coming together. It's a perfect draw on the Acolyte, though. We gotta find some more of our friends here. Alright, let's see how this goes. It should be fairly obvious that some type of shenanigan is about. Ooh, that was good. Get him real low. This is the space to where you can just potentially kill him with Ziggs. I don't think I'm willing to go completely down that path, but I mean, we have 1 damage from Scrappy Bomb. We can get another damage out of the Rite of Passage and the Pokestick. That's really close to a lethal. I don't think we need to go that deep. I guess a fair question would have been, though, is are we going to be able to have a wider board than our opponent, right? We really need to have 6 units for this this strategy to pop off, and that's not entirely clear. Oh, you just draw Ziggs. Easy. Learn from the master. Yeah, you just draw Ziggs, you know? That makes your day a lot easier. I guess he's not flipped. I guess we have to keep that piece of the puzzle in mind. But let's see if we can't get him down next turn. At least we can let some of this board empty out. Right, I'm gonna throw a Inventive Chemist out here because I want to get the Unraveled Earths on board. And then we can just start spewing this stuff off next turn. Hopefully he'll just die if he plays getting to the point where he just dies if he plays a unit.
What does that thing do? It explodes, of course. Go ahead.
Is he gonna beam us? He's got 2 removals. Okay. Okay. Sad day for Team Bust. Alright, well, Let's continue to try and get our way out of this one. We can grow our friends on board. All of his blocks are officially terrible. And we'll see if like we should be able to clear out the Caitlyn's and the likes. If he has another 3-attack unit to block the Fearsomes, that's kind of meh. Maybe we should have unraveled Earth first.
What brings you here? Business and pleasure, Sheriff.
Activating the traps. Was that bad? Shit, is Caitlyn just gonna kill us? That's a real possibility with her. I don't think so, right? She's only gonna deal 6. She'll die in the combat as well. I think that's how Caitlyn works. I'm not. I don't think you take the damage if she dies, right? The strike effect doesn't happen. So he should have to block with both Caitlyn and the Puffcat Peddler to get out of this turn. Ooh, Purple Berry Shake, huh? Oh, lots of shenanigans coming at us. Okay. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I feel like we should have enough health to fade this stuff, unless he has a second Karina, right? If he has another Karina, then the Caitlyn traps could be a problem, but fuck. As she stands right now, she's not too scary. Holy fuck. That was quite the draw, hitting 3 traps off of 1 card. Alright. So we'll block. We take less damage this way. Get a dude out of it. We can still blow up the sarcophagus with the Acolyte. Get the 2 units on board. Not really amped about trying to play things like Preservarium, although I guess it is a little bit safer now that we picked up the extra point of health on our 2 1 health units. All right, let's see how it goes. 1 puff cap, okay, and 1 puff cap. It's like there is some argument that we need to put stuff on the board, right? But I mean, his units can't block. He needs quite a bit of stuff. Like, I think at this point, he would probably just kill us if he had a like the burn spells for the win. All right, how bad is this? Are we dead? Bunch of shit just died, but oh, you do die from that strike. Okay. Well, I don't think we had any way around that. We couldn't have stopped the Caitlyn otherwise, but I guess it makes sense that the strike ability happens. But all right, well, it is what it is. I don't know what else you're supposed to do there. I guess you could just sit there forever. We had the opportunity to get some of the vulnerable landmarks on board and just didn't do it. I don't know. That sounds kind of meh. But here, I'm going to keep everything. He's playing Yasuo. Yasuo is a great target for Rite of the Arcane. We've already got our engine on board with the Acolyte's Reliquaries turning up. I think it's safe to keep just to try and shut down his good play. Not too many good plays coming out of Ionia Jhin, and so if we can shut down a Yasuo, I think I'm kind of okay with that. Is he gonna boom us? Has he got something to do post-combat? Sure. I guess that's something. You get that point of damage in. Alright, friends. Combat time.
You like spiders?
Whenever I hear the salty spinner, whatever he's called, say, "Do you like spiders?" I immediately think it's just going to be a D's nuts joke. I feel like they're gonna make the voice line, "Do you like dragons?" And then of course the follow up. If you're not familiar with this, be prepared to be wowed. And so you ask one of your friends if they like dragons, right? And then they say, "What? What do you mean? Do you like dragons?" And you say, "Do you want me to dragon these nuts across your face?" It's very classic. It's a very classy line. I I don't think anyone in the world has ever done better. So feel free to use it if you want. Nothing better than a high quality D's nuts joke. But here with this board, I don't want to get really involved with this Yasuo right now. He's got barrier and everything. We have the pokey. We could have gone like pokey stick right of the arcane, but then if he has a combat trick, it all falls apart. I just don't want to fuck around with that. So we kept the pokey stick back. Now we're just getting to grow our units. Interesting that he's returning it to hand.
Fang's turn.
So do we ever need to start worrying about this Yasuo? I don't think I want to get Ziggs on board just yet. Like, I don't think there's much reason to just come in and trade. And I think I just want to get the Reliquary down and then look to right of the Arcane next turn. He shouldn't have any more barrier stuff. It's like, I guess you can, but we hopefully pop it with a pokey stick if that becomes a problem. Suffering is the beating heart of drama. So dramatic, Jin. So dramatic. Yeah, I guess denies a thing. Well, all right, Acolytes. Get as big as you can. Do your wonderful thing. See if we can't take this down next turn. Unraveled Earth. Why not? Why not, they say. Alright, we got all these stats now. Nothing could go wrong. What could go wrong here? Absolutely nothing. And so, send him on in. What is that? Hillock? Okay. So, I mean, assuming he has a Steel Tempest in hand, he shouldn't have enough. Well, I guess he has enough to stop us. But he's going to lose both his Jhin and his Yasuo. Right, say Steel Tempest's 1 unit, blocks 2. Then we should be able to come in with the remainder of the team. Yasuo stun doesn't even kill our unit. Okay. We're getting close. Get opponent down to 2 with the double pokey stick in hand. We got Ziggs ready to deal some damage if a landmark blows up. You're saying there's a chance, and we did it. Took down Yasuo. the classic gameplay decision, just never lose to Yasuo. It's one of my favorite best of 3 strategies. But that is the Yasuo deck is one of the reasons I kind of like coming back into these things. Like I'm curious, as Katarina Yasuo popped off maybe like 2 seasonals ago. I feel like that was a seasonals where I had like really made a mistake in not bringing Katarina Yasuo to the event, and I'm extremely biased. I just have absolutely no respect for Yasuo. I think all the decks that involve him are just pure garbage, and for the most part they are. I think the only thing that was good about that Yasuo deck was probably the Windswept Hillock plus Katarina combo, and people just weren't really fully versed yet with how strong Katarina was. But it was a deck, and we weren't quite ready for it and lost to it, or should have brought it to the event and didn't. And so, kind of a bummer. That's why I like cycling back to these things on occasion. But here, this is kind of interesting. I was thinking of, do I want to drop the bomb on the Keeper of the Box, given that if he wants to start equipping stuff you know, he needs the unit on the board, and there's a lot of times where they just don't have enough stats to start getting these like additional, like a 3 cost unit and another equipment. And so say like he didn't have the bloodletters, but he only had 2 attack equipment, or 2 cost equipment, I should say. He wouldn't have been able to fill out the board here, but not quite how that one played out. We could still look to drop the bomb on this thing, but doesn't feel like there's much reason. I want to pop off with these reliquaries as hard as we can. Alright, so dude just picked up a cane. Can't play him until next turn. We can start to get our acolytes going. Alright, team, give me all those juicy stats. That's what we need. That's what we need. More acolytes and more acolytes. They say my stats are the juiciest. Not enough mana. We did that again? Alright, fine. Let's swing. If he wants to trade the Ranger Knight, that's fine. If he's got the double Frostbite, then we just lose the game. But I feel like this is probably just going to be him playing Kane or something, and we get to build up from here. Interesting. Like he didn't seem particularly interested in punching damage last turn, but seems pretty interested in it now. Interesting. Probably just have to block. It's so much damage. It sucks a whole lot that we're so close to just killing this unit based on the stats of our acolytes, but if we'd play a drop the bomb and he's got a, or if we like just take it and then look to follow up with the unit, it's really easy for him to just kind of attack around this. I don't know, that's close. Right, let's get the unit on board. He wants to keep fucking around, we can drop the bomb. Hey, well, seems like fuck around is part of the plan. Is he just trying to draw Aatrox? Weird. That's weird. Alright. It's like he doesn't have the combat trick. He would have played the combat trick to save his scout unit if he did. It's a very weird sequence just to get in a single point of damage. Alright, but I think we want to get these Waking Sands down. It's kind of a scary place here to where now he knows if he wants to play a unit, it's just going to get boomed. And so him dropping Aatrox this turn doesn't feel very good. This is kind of interesting. I guess this is okay. Like, I was going to say, like, what do we do with this 3 health unit? Because it kind of sucks to just trade it with the Buru Cultist, but then it kind of double sucks to to not attack with it and only come in for 7 damage on the round. So I think we were kind of stuck just attacking with it anyways. But that was interesting. I was surprised to see Kane come down. Kane is a real gem for us there because he only has 2 attack. And so we know that we can hook Kane with the Acolyte and not lose it and feel pretty safe. So that was odd. But we gotta be feeling good here. If he just plays like an Aatrox, our units are all bigger. Doesn't seem like he has the double Frostbite. He would have played that a long time ago if he had it and just completely annihilated us. And so, unless he's drawn that in the past turn or two, I feel pretty safe in terms of not getting hit by it. Then I'm going to go with the Reliquary here. We have the constructs in hand to... Well, actually, what if we do this? What if we... hang on, I want to do it this way. I still want to deal this point of damage with the Scrappy Bomb that we have. And I'm just going to blow up the worst one. But now we get this extra unit on board, take one of his units away. I dig it. It's got to be okay, right? It takes a lot to get out of this. Like, even with the double Frostbite, you need like 2 of them. And that's still not enough to save your Aatrox. Whew. Alright, though. Victory is ours. Victory acquired. GG. Let's get ourselves one more game in. And we're on this hot streak, you know. We got 2 games in. two victories. I'll feel good with 7. Once we get the new format upon us, I'll get back to playing the 8 games or monitoring the time a little bit more closely. But let's see what we can do. What is this? Kale Aurelian Soul with Freylord in it. Alright. See what we're up against. I wonder if this is going to be something with the Spirits Unleashed. I'll just mulligan it all. We need to find the construct. Or not the construct, the reliquary. There it is. Right. Gotta be like Spirits Unleashed with Kale Aurelian Soul. He's not playing dragons. He's just dragging D's nuts, am I right? You're right, Bust. That's what you're saying in your mind. He did get that mana for the turn. Not too surprising, but... he's doing all the ramping. This is going to be bad.
Is that a challenge?
You're not nearly aggressive enough to stop the shenanigans that are about to come forth. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what his expensive stuff's gonna be. It's weird seeing someone like ramp into Kale, right? If you're trying to actually level up the Kale and use these bonus attack abilities, then like he hasn't bonused any attack or attacked with anything up to this point, and so it's not exactly playing towards the Kale plan. But we are seriously lacking in aggression here. We don't have enough power to bring it in. Alright, I think we definitely want to go for the extra dude here, though. We don't have to worry about a Buried in the Ice this turn. He's only got 7 mana. And if he plays a guy behind, then we should probably be able to just trade with it. Oh, snap, though. Targon's Peak. I like what you're about, my dude. we don't play with the Peak very well, but I like seeing it. I like what's on board. Rite of Negation, just perfect draw. No matter what big card he's going to try and play, we should be able to stop. Gotta stop this thing, I guess. Do we want to kill an ally here? Like, is it better if we, say, kill off the Endless Devout? We're just going to be, like, a little bit short of damage. But it's like, so we use the Rite of Negation, kill the sarcophagus, then we look to right of whatever away his unit in the back line. So we get the unit back. He has to block our 5 attack with his Ithit Stairs. Like, it's close. It's going to be presenting a lethal. I don't feel great about it, but let's see. And then a Reliquary comes in. All right, let's give it a shot. I think we probably do just get hit with like harsh winds here pretty frequently, but I mean his deck is built to be using these cards, and so he should just have something huge again next turn. Like if we like basically in a spot where we have to win the game this turn, and it's like, do we feel better about winning it if we add in a couple of more acolytes? And like, probably not. If we still had the Rite of Negation, then maybe we could pull something off, but I don't think it's very safe here. Okay. But the thing that may turn out to be kind of nice for us is if he wants to play like Feel the Rush next turn, we do still have the Quicksand to stop however good it's going to be. That might lead to something. It's still, we shouldn't be winning the game at this point, right? If he's got 13 mana and the Targon's Peak to our 8 mana, we should be struggling with that, but he spent mana on this Aurelian Soul. He had to pay the full 10. That's fantastic. All right, well, let's get some dudes on board, right? Nothing wrong with getting some dudes on board. Maybe we should have Pokestick the Ithit Stairs. Like, if we draw a Pokestick, then we can kill it after the fact, but didn't turn up. Give an ally in hand 8/8. I dig it. I dig what you're about. All right, well, we got the big board again. Let's see, is Aurelian Soul's gonna flip? That's the bummer for this attack. Like, I don't care about him getting the Celestials and everything, but as we like open attack here, he's gonna go up to 9 health, and we can't take him down. I wonder if we made a mistake in our block there. I don't remember the amount of stats that our units had. Well, let's see. See what happens. Uh-oh, he's blocking. That's never good, right? That's never good. Uh-oh, just harsh winds? We beat that. Fuck. Dang. Some kind of stun. Alright. But we'll keep at it. We got the Quicksand to save our day. That's what we're counting on. Sure. Not a bad hit. Whenever we play the Targon's Peak deck, we always hit like the 0 mana cards off of what he generates, and so must feel nice to must feel nice to hit cards like Supernova as you are getting him going, getting her going. I guess I think Aurelian Soul is a female character. Alright, though. He's got something in hand with +16/+16 on it. Like, we can manage that, right? If it's a Kale or something and we hit it with the Quicksand, like, we can get around. 2020 Revna. I we're slightly boomed again. I really want to get a blocker in front of this hit that stairs. We needed the stats. We got the time to do it. That's pretty good. Sure. I thought we had the chance to get there, but apparently not. Apparently not. And so, not a bad set of games. It's an interesting deck. We can pull it up and talk about it a little bit more. And I don't know kind of like what the problem with it is. If we just need to like play with it a little bit more, or if it's actually just the Acolyte Reliquary not being enough. It was one of those decks as to where when it like initially popped off, I had a tough time evaluating it because it was like right when the set was released is when the deck got really popular. It was like someone figured it out like in the initial weekend or something, and then we're initially doing a lot of crushing through the ladder, and then it like very quickly got hotfix patched. Like 2 weeks in, I think it got hotfixed. I think that might have been. I don't think it was before Worlds, but there was like a maybe it was right before Worlds, and I think it got hotfixed before the event or something. I don't entirely remember, but it was one of those decks to where I couldn't decide on to where a new set comes out, and there's always the aggressive decks that are very good, right? You're out there trying to figure out how do I make this shitty Rise card not shitty? How do I make these good Aurelian, these good Aatrox cards even gooder? Like how do I do this? How do I do that? How do we do things with Crimson Pigeon? Whatever. There's always that bit of exploratory period right when a new set is released, and that's when this deck kind of started popping off. And so it was tough to decide if the deck was actually really good or if it was just the best, like, straightforward aggro deck at the time, right? It's not hard to figure out. Okay, I take all these cards that say Ruinous Acolyte on them and put them in a deck. It doesn't matter if you fuck it up too much and play, like, Zerath Talia, or if you play a bunch of weird landmark stuff. As long as you have that core, then you're kind of off to the races. To where if you're playing, like, Aatrox, it takes a bit of time to figure out, right? The correct number of equipment to play, the units to pair them with, and everything. And so it was tough to tell. But with that out of the way and into this current meta, like I'm trying to think of the space to where this could be good, and that it just doesn't like really strike me. Like there's such a I don't want to call it a problem, but there's such this like space in the game right now to where if you're wanting to play a mid-rangey deck and can you do better than Aatrox? And that's exceptionally challenging to do. You can even say the same thing just about Kayn, like not even playing Kayn with Aatrox, but Kayn on his own. Just being able to like draw on his own and take over the mid game and everything, and then still have late game ties to a cheap mid game card. It tends to just be like so much better than this stuff, and then it actually has early game plays to it. And so it's like there needs to be this like specific wedge to where this deck is pretty good, and I think we played against a little bit of everything today, and I didn't feel particularly happy with this against any of them, even in the ones where we started with the Acolyte Reliquary in the early game. It all felt kind of high rolly, and so I think there could be a space for it. I don't think it involves playing like Ziggs. I think it probably involves playing like Zillion, and then having a reason to want to kind of predict and get some of these landmark themes going, and not just being all in on like I hope I draw Acolyte Reliquary and I'm able to chain these cards through in time that my units are just big enough to be bigger than the other person's stuff. Like I don't know. It just all strikes me as very, very not good. And so it is powerful, though. I think that's another thing that I should at least give a little bit of credence to, especially if Riot gets kind of crazy and decides to print more Ruinous Acolyte cards. Like, who knows if that'll ever be a thing. I lean towards probably never see another Ruinous Acolyte card ever, but, if one more card gets printed, then this has the opportunity to potentially pop off again. But, nonetheless, I'm not impressed. Maybe you were. Who knows? But that is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. So this is Bustin'. We thank you for being here.